Here's something most people get completely wrong about money and lifestyle. They assume you need to earn more to live better. But what if the smarter move wasn't about earning more, it was about spending smarter by simply choosing where you live? Right now, as rent in cities like New York, London, and Sydney pushes past $4, $5, even $6,000 a month for a basic apartment, millions of people are quietly waking up to a truth that expats and retirees figured out years ago. Your dollar, or pound, or euro goes dramatically further in certain corners of the world. We're not talking about roughing it in a hut somewhere. We're talking real apartments, real meals, real transportation, real healthcare, the full picture of a comfortable, even lavish life. And we're talking about doing all of that for $1,500 a month or less. Today, we're breaking down the 10 countries where that is not just possible, it's actually happening right now for real people. So welcome. If you're new here, this channel is all about geography, global living, and the facts behind the places we think we know, but probably don't. Today, we're ranking the top 10 places where $1,500 a month makes you rich. To build this list, we looked at a combination of data points: average monthly cost of living indexes, typical rental prices, food and grocery costs, local transportation expenses, healthcare accessibility, and overall quality of life ratings. These aren't guesses. These are real numbers drawn from global cost of living databases and expat research reports. Let's get into it. Starting our list at number 10 is a country that, honestly, more people should be talking about when it comes to affordable living, and that is Indonesia. Now, most people know Indonesia as a tourist destination. Bali, beautiful beaches, rice terraces, and yes, all of that is real. But here's what the travel brochures don't tell you. Indonesia is also one of the most affordable places on the planet to actually set down roots. The country's average monthly cost of living, when you factor in housing, food, transport, and utilities, can come in at well under $500 a month, and that's for a comfortable standard of living, not a stripped-down budget. Let's talk about what that actually looks like. In the capital, Jakarta, one of Southeast Asia's largest and most dynamic cities, your overall cost of living runs roughly 60% lower than it would in New York City. Compare it to Berlin, and you're still looking at around 40% cheaper. Even neighboring Singapore, which is right there in the same region, is approximately 50% more expensive than living in an Indonesian city. Food is where things get really interesting. Street food culture in Indonesia is extraordinary, and it's not just cheap, it's genuinely good. A full sit-down meal from a local warung, which is what they call the small family-run restaurants that line virtually every street, can run you under $2. If you prefer cooking at home, a full month of groceries, and we're talking fresh produce, proteins, pantry staples, can come in at under $50. Getting around is equally affordable. Taxi services and ride-hailing apps like Gojek have made transportation incredibly accessible. Kilometer by kilometer, you're looking at fares that are a fraction of what you'd pay in any Western city. Monthly commuting costs, negligible by comparison. For housing, a quality one-bedroom apartment in a good Jakarta neighborhood typically runs under $300 a month. A three-bedroom place, the kind you'd share with a partner or family, generally falls under $700. And of course, beyond the city, there are places like Bali and Lombok where the lifestyle feels closer to a permanent vacation than everyday life. Beautiful coastlines, warm weather year-round, and a pace of life that people pay thousands of dollars to visit on holiday, available to you daily for a fraction of that cost. Indonesia earns its spot at number 10, and with $1,500 here, you genuinely be living large.
At number 9, we have a country that surprises a lot of people who haven't researched it: Bolivia. Bolivia is landlocked in the heart of South America, bordered by Brazil, Argentina, Peru, Chile, and Paraguay. It doesn't get the same international spotlight as some of its neighbors, but for people focused on cost of living and quality of life, it's quietly become one of the more interesting options on the continent. Here's the headline number. A comfortable, genuinely enjoyable month of living in Bolivia can be achieved for just over $500. That means with $1,500 a month, you'd have close to $1,000 left over after covering every essential: money for travel, savings, or simply living with real breathing room. Let's break that down. A typical sit-down meal at a local restaurant, not fast food, an actual restaurant with proper food, will set you back around $2. A more elevated dining experience, something with multiple courses and a solid menu, lands around $12. And if you enjoy wine with your meals, locally produced Bolivian wine, which is actually quite decent, can be found for around $3 a bottle. Transportation is similarly inexpensive. Taxis start at the equivalent of well under $1, and public transit tickets for cross-city routes cost next to nothing. For those wanting to settle down, a one-bedroom apartment in a nice area, amenities included, typically comes in under $300 per month. A larger three-bedroom unit in an upscale neighborhood runs somewhere between $600 and $800. Bolivia also offers something that larger, more tourist-heavy countries sometimes lack: authenticity. The indigenous culture here is among the richest on the continent, with traditions, festivals, and markets that give daily life a texture you simply can't get in more commercialized destinations. And geographically, Bolivia is stunning, from the otherworldly salt flats of Salar de Uyuni to the lush Amazon basin in the north. Bolivia at number 9, an underrated gem. Nepal is most famous in the Western world for the Himalayas and Mount Everest, but that's really just scratching the surface of what this country has to offer. For people thinking seriously about where their money can work hardest, Nepal deserves a close look. The average monthly cost of comfortable living in Nepal hovers just above $500. On a $1,500 monthly budget, that leaves you with nearly $1,000 of pure surplus, money you could put toward travel, savings, or upgrading to a more premium lifestyle right there in the country. Daily meals at local restaurants cost around $2. Even at nicer establishments, the kind with a full menu and a pleasant atmosphere, you're looking at around $5 per meal. Cooking at home costs even less. Monthly grocery bills for a single person can come in under $50, with fresh local produce being both abundant and affordable. Healthcare is another area where Nepal offers surprisingly good value. Consulting a private doctor costs around $40, which is a fraction of what an out-of-pocket consultation would run in the United States or much of Western Europe. Transportation is remarkably cheap. Taxis charge fractions of a cent per kilometer by Western standards, a few cents for a reasonable distance. Bus rides are even more affordable, and for those wanting more flexibility, daily car rentals can be arranged for around $1. Housing is where Nepal perhaps shines brightest for budget-conscious residents. A quality apartment in a good neighborhood of Kathmandu or Pokhara, the country's two main urban centers, can be found for around $140 a month. Add utilities, healthcare, food, and transportation, and you're still comfortably under $600 for the entire month, meaning on a $1,500 budget, you'd have nearly $1,000 left to do whatever you want with. What makes Nepal especially compelling isn't just the cost, it's the spiritual richness of the country. Ancient temples, Buddhist monasteries, stunning mountain scenery, and a culture built around hospitality and community. It's a place where the quality of daily life, measured in the things that actually matter, is genuinely high. Nepal ranks at number 8.
Coming in at number 7 is Vietnam. And this is a country that belongs on every serious conversation about affordable, high-quality living. Vietnam has undergone a remarkable transformation over the past few decades. Its cities are modern and energetic, its food scene is internationally celebrated, and its coastline, stretching over 3,000 kilometers, is dotted with beaches that rival any in Southeast Asia. What hasn't changed is how far your money goes here. Monthly living costs in Vietnam vary depending on which city you choose. In Ho Chi Minh City, one of the country's most expensive urban centers, a comfortable month of living, rent, food, transport, utilities can come in at under $900. In smaller cities like Da Nang or Hoi An, that number drops considerably. Here's a realistic monthly breakdown for Ho Chi Minh City. Rent for a Western-style one-bedroom apartment in a good neighborhood sits around $400. Utilities for the month add around $70. Food, and this is where Vietnam really shines, a mix of eating out and home cooking runs about $300, and that covers genuinely excellent food. Vietnamese cuisine is widely considered among the best in the world, and the local restaurants here are serving it fresh, daily, for $2 to $3 a meal. Transportation for the month adds another $60 or so, covering ride-hailing, occasional taxis, and public transit. All of that adds up to roughly $830. And remember, we're working with a $1,500 monthly budget. That leaves you with over $650 of breathing room every single month for entertainment, savings, weekend travel, or simply banking it. Vietnam is also considered one of the safer countries in Southeast Asia with a low violent crime rate, and its healthcare infrastructure in major cities has improved substantially in recent years. For digital nomads in particular, Vietnam has become one of the most popular bases in the world. High-speed internet, great coffee culture, excellent food, and a genuinely welcoming local population. Vietnam takes number 7. At number 6, we head to South America for Argentina, a country that, despite its economic turbulence in recent years, offers one of the most striking lifestyle-to-cost ratios anywhere in the world. Here's the key context you need to understand Argentina's affordability. The country's currency, the Argentine peso, has experienced significant devaluation over recent years. For locals, this creates real financial challenges, but for foreigners earning income in dollars, euros, or pounds, Argentina becomes extraordinary value because your hard currency stretches dramatically against the local economy. The cost of living in Argentina sits at roughly 50 to 60% lower than the United States across most categories, and in some areas, particularly housing, the difference is even more dramatic. Consider this: a 3-bedroom apartment in a central Buenos Aires neighborhood, a proper city apartment in a European-style capital with wide boulevards, stunning architecture, world-class restaurants, and a vibrant cultural scene, can be rented for under $400 a month. The equivalent apartment in a major American city would cost $6,000 or more. That's not a typo. The math on that is genuinely staggering. Food is another area where Argentina delivers. The country is globally famous for its beef. Argentine steak is considered among the finest in the world, and restaurants' set menus including a starter, main course, and drinks can be found for around $8. Local markets are well-stocked and affordable. A week of groceries comes in comfortably under $20 for most households. Transportation is similarly wallet-friendly. Taxis cost less than $1 per mile, and local buses, which connect virtually every corner of Buenos Aires and other major cities, charge fractions of $1 per journey. All of that adds up to roughly $830. And remember, we're working with a $1,500 monthly budget. That leaves you with over $650 of breathing room every single month for entertainment, savings, weekend travel, or simply banking it. Argentina is also considered a country with a deeply rich cultural identity. Tango, literature, world-class wine from the Mendoza region, Patagonian wilderness in the south, and a capital city that many visitors describe as one of the most beautiful in the Western Hemisphere. Argentina at number 6, a remarkable value proposition. Number 5 is Peru, another South American powerhouse when it comes to affordable, high-quality living. Peru is a country of extraordinary geographic and cultural diversity. You've got the Amazon rainforest in the east, the soaring Andes Mountains running down the spine of the country, the ancient ruins of Machu Picchu drawing visitors from around the globe, and a Pacific coastline with a capital city, Lima, that has quietly become one of South America's most sophisticated and cosmopolitan urban centers. And through all of that, the monthly cost of comfortable living in Peru averages out at just over $500. Housing is genuinely affordable. A 1-bedroom apartment in the center of Lima or Cusco, centrally located in a nice neighborhood, runs around $360 a month. For a 3-bedroom unit in the city center, you're looking at under $700, and that's the expensive version. Peruvian food deserves special mention here because it's not just cheap, it's legitimately world-class. Lima consistently ranks among the top culinary cities on Earth, with multiple restaurants named among the best globally. A full sit-down meal at a local restaurant costs around $3. A three-course meal at a nicer establishment runs about $10. Home cooking is even cheaper. A month of groceries can come in under $50 for most households. Transportation is efficient and remarkably affordable, with routes available almost anywhere for under 40 cents per ride. A monthly transit pass runs about $15. Utilities for a comfortable apartment add roughly $56 per month, and after covering all of that, the math shows you finishing your $1,500 month with nearly $1,000 untouched. In Peru, $1,500 isn't a budget, it's a lifestyle upgrade. Peru at number 5.
Number 4 is a country that might surprise some viewers, Mexico. There's a temptation to overlook Mexico on a list like this because of familiarity. It's right next to the United States. It's a massive tourism destination, and people assume proximity equals higher cost. But when you actually look at the numbers, Mexico is one of the most affordable quality of living destinations available, which is exactly why it's consistently the #1 relocation choice for American retirees looking to stretch their income. The average monthly cost of comfortable living in Mexico comes in under $750, and that's across major cities like Mexico City, Guadalajara, and Oaxaca, as well as popular expat destinations like Mérida, San Miguel de Allende, and the Pacific coast towns. Let's walk through a typical monthly budget. Housing, your biggest expense, typically runs around $375 for a quality apartment in a good neighborhood. Food is where Mexico truly shines. Authentic Mexican cuisine, which is one of only 2 national cuisines in the world recognized by UNESCO as cultural heritage, is available fresh and delicious for under $300 a month of combined eating out and groceries. Transportation across an entire month runs around $20. Mexico City has an extensive metro system, and taxis and ride-hailing apps are extremely affordable. When you add it all up, a comfortable month in Mexico costs under $750, meaning on a $1,500 monthly budget, you'd have over $750 left over every single month for entertainment, day trips, or pure savings. The quality of life across Mexico varies by region, but the country offers incredible cultural richness, ancient ruins, colonial architecture, Pacific and Caribbean coastlines, highland towns with year-round spring weather, and a food and art scene that punches far above its weight globally. Mexico at number 4. At number 3, we return to Southeast Asia for Malaysia, a country that has built an international reputation specifically around being a great place for expats and retirees to settle. In fact, Malaysia runs an official government program called Malaysia My Second Home, MM2H, which actively encourages foreigners to establish long-term residency in the country. That's how seriously Malaysia takes attracting international residents and how confident the country is in what it has to offer. The numbers back it up. Average monthly living costs in Malaysia, excluding rent, sit at just under $500. Rent for a quality 1-bedroom apartment in Kuala Lumpur, the modern, highly developed capital, runs between $300 and $500. Transportation costs for the entire month land under $50, thanks to an extensive rail network, affordable taxis, and a well-organized public bus system. Healthcare in Malaysia is another significant draw. The country is consistently rated as having one of the best healthcare systems in Asia, and monthly healthcare expenses for an average resident come in under $30. For reference, Malaysia is a major destination for medical tourism. People fly here specifically to access quality medical care at prices far below what they'd pay in the West. Kuala Lumpur itself is a genuinely world-class city, gleaming skyscrapers, excellent shopping, international restaurants, a vibrant art scene, and efficient infrastructure. Beyond the capital, Malaysia offers beautiful island beaches in Langkawi and the Perhentians, the cultural richness of Georgetown and Penang, and the lush highland retreats of the Cameron Highlands.
Malaysia is also consistently rated as one of the best countries in the world for international students, based purely on its cost of living and quality of educational institutions. Malaysia ranks at number 3, and is arguably the most well-rounded entry on this entire list.
Number 2 is Central America's crown jewel of livability, Costa Rica. Costa Rica has long been celebrated environmentally. It's one of the most biodiverse countries on Earth, with over a quarter of its territory protected as national parks or reserves. Rainforests, cloud forests, active volcanoes, Pacific and Caribbean beaches, an extraordinary array of wildlife. Costa Rica is genuinely beautiful in a way that goes well beyond typical travel destinations. But here's the part that tends to surprise people. It's also one of the most affordable quality of life destinations in the Americas. Real estate costs in Costa Rica run approximately 64% lower than equivalent properties in the United States. That translates practically into furnished two-bedroom apartments available for around $400 a month, complete with furniture, appliances, and often access to outdoor spaces. Monthly utility bills for a comfortable apartment add roughly $50. Groceries are priced at up to 50% below U.S. supermarket rates, meaning a month of quality food shopping comes in around $200. And given the country's access to fresh tropical produce year-round, that $200 buys genuinely excellent food. Transportation is where Costa Rica's numbers get almost hard to believe. For those living without a personal vehicle, a month of public transportation, covering buses, taxis, and local services, runs around $40. The public bus network is reliable and reaches most parts of the country. Healthcare in Costa Rica is a hidden advantage. The country operates one of the best universal public healthcare systems in Latin America, and international residents can access the system for a relatively modest monthly contribution. What makes Costa Rica especially compelling for the two-spot is the full picture. It's affordable, and it's beautiful, and it's stable. Costa Rica is one of the oldest continuous democracies in the Americas, has had no standing army since 1948, and consistently ranks among the happiest populations on Earth in global well-being surveys. Costa Rica at number 2, a genuinely extraordinary place to live well on very little. And at the top of our list, number 1, is Cambodia. Cambodia is a country that carries a complex and at times difficult history. But in the present day, it has emerged as one of the most welcoming, accessible, and cost-effective places to build a life in all of Southeast Asia. And when you look at the actual numbers, it earns the top spot on this list without much debate. The average monthly cost of comfortable living in Cambodia, including a decent apartment, regular meals, local transportation, and utilities, lands at around $800 a month. On a $1,500 budget, that's $700 of surplus every single month. In the capital, Phnom Penh, that budget gets you a genuine urban lifestyle in one of Southeast Asia's most rapidly developing cities. Accommodation is a strong point. A comfortable, well-located apartment in Phnom Penh can be found for around $300 a month, modern, clean, and in neighborhoods with restaurants, cafes, and markets within easy reach. Food is a significant daily expense relative to the rest of the budget. A full sit-down meal at a proper local restaurant can run around $11, but this is balanced by how inexpensive transportation is. Getting around Phnom Penh is remarkably cheap, with tuk-tuks, motorbike taxis, and ride-hailing apps offering very affordable rides across the city. One thing that sets Cambodia apart from many of its neighbors is its attitude toward foreign residents. Because tourism and foreign economic activity are important pillars of the Cambodian economy, the country is genuinely welcoming to expats and retirees. Foreigners report feeling comfortable and well integrated into daily life in ways that aren't always the case in more insular societies. Cambodia's currency, the riel, coexists with the U.S. dollar, which is widely accepted across the country, making financial life for dollar-earning expats particularly straightforward. And beyond the practicalities, Cambodia is a country with a profound and ancient cultural heritage. The temple complex of Angkor Wat, one of the most impressive architectural achievements in human history, is here. The Mekong River runs through its landscape. The food and arts traditions run deep.
Cambodia earns number 1, the place where $1,500 doesn't just cover your life, it funds a genuinely rich one.
So there you have it. 10 countries where the math of living well simply works differently than it does in the expensive Western cities most of us are used to. From the beach life of Indonesia to the culinary culture of Vietnam, the architectural beauty of Argentina to the rainforest serenity of Costa Rica, and all the way to the welcoming streets of Cambodia, the world is genuinely full of places where $1,500 a month doesn't feel like a limitation. It feels like freedom. Now, every situation is different. Exchange rates shift, personal circumstances vary, and what makes a place feel like home is about more than just the numbers. So, do your own research, spend time in these places before committing, and figure out which one matches your lifestyle best. If you found value in this breakdown, go ahead and subscribe. We put out new videos every week covering geography, global living, and the world's most interesting places. And if you've lived in any of these countries, or if we missed one that deserves a spot on this list, let us know in the comments below. We'll see you in the next one.